Hey y'all.
Hey. I was like, what I want to talk about. I just walked in the room. I didn't even know y'all was doing a show.
I last minute decided to do a Sex with Sunny where everything that's been going on. I said I got to do a Sex with Sunny. It makes sense, especially with all the stuff that's happening. I feel like I need to. So I was going to wait and bring it back next month. But yeah, hey guys, y'all live. We live. I know it's been a while since
Charles in the building.
I know I was say hey. Okay, look, how do you get out the scene? Like,
nah, but I felt like so. For all those who don't know, I got to put all the stuff up, but I'm gonna do it. Hopefully, Willie love me enough to start that while I'm talking. But I basically thought it was very much a time decision to do a Sex with Sunny. I was going to do one tonight, rather earlier, like my normal time, 6 p.m. But I had my grandbaby was here and stuff like that, so I wanted to wait till it got quiet. Of course, my son is up, so I'm apologize in advance. But I felt like today's Sex with Sunny was definitely on time and definitely worth doing and talking about, especially with a lot of stuff that's going on in the social media and going out in the celebrity world and stuff like that. So these are like what. So like for me, this was like I've had this discussion multiple times, and I feel like right now we definitely need to have this conversation. So with that being said, today we're going to be talking about sexual history being used against you, what you like and preferences and things you like to do being used against you. We can I know a lot of people have been following along with the Cassie and Puffy case, with Cassie as on the witness stand and different things like that, and just a lot of different things that we've seen in the last couple of times within this media talking about preferences and being judged and stuff like that. And then more importantly, for where I like to go with it is just dealing with it, like not on the level of P. Diddy and Cassie situation, but like dealing with it as far as like regular life stuff, dating and things like that. And also being, because we talked about this on Sex with Sunny a while back about we talked about having having sex or dealing with sex after you've been assaulted and kind of balancing out the stuff you like, you didn't like. And then somebody made a post that kind of hit home for me. You're being judged because of stuff you like to do, but because you were violated, now it's a thing to throw in your face, or call you to the carpet too. Like, well, you like this, and this, so it's like it kind of gives that reasoning that doesn't quite equate, or at least I find problematic as far as that is concerned, because no matter what you like, how you're treated in a situation does not justify that happening, or not balance it out and equal it and cancel it out because you like this and this doesn't mean you need to be violated. Or even if you do like certain things, like with Cassie and Diddy, like even if she was a participant of the F-Offs, doesn't mean that she wanted to do it all the time, or maybe she may have done it because she knew that's what he liked and things like a lot of that conversation. And like I don't want to stick it to just them. I'm just saying like to like, and even we can equate it to, like I said, when we did the Sex with Sunny with about the approaching sex after being sexually assaulted, we had somebody that was a sex worker, right? And even with that, it's like saying somebody who sells their body can't be violated because of their sexual history. So I feel like this conversation is supremely on time for this time period. I feel like I would be remiss and lack of duty as a podcaster to even talk about this, especially with the platform that I have called Sex with Sunny, because people like, and we could run it back as to why I even started this podcast, because I was assaulted, and this is me taking back my power. And a lot of people see it as a negative connotation, like, oh, she likes to have sex. I do like to have sex, but also it doesn't mean this podcast is for me to get people to have sex with me. That's not the math ain't mathing. So like I said, when I hear comments like this kind of hits directly to the heart of what I'm doing with this particular podcast, and then just the outlook on life. So I kind of want to ask you guys, since I got Willie and Unprotected Dame on, how do you feel about someone's sexual history being used against them in a negative light? I'm not even going to say like into their situation, just as a broad conversation. Like, how do you feel about that?
Hi everybody.
Hey, Dave.
I'm not sure if you touched on it. I was lifing. Sometimes you just want to. Some people want to experiment on. They can't say they didn't like something if never tried it. So some things they might be like, I'll give it a try. No, not everything is for everybody. No, they might try it once and be like, okay, I liked it. Far as this trial, some things went beyond freaky, or I'm not sure what words we can and can't use anymore.
Yeah, that's why I said F off, because I've been
that's why
some things get censored, so I don't want it to get censored. But I guess when we refer to that, we could say, I would say, because like even with the word freaky, it depends on the level of what you consider freaky. It not every what I consider freaky may not be freaky to you, because that may be an everyday situation for you. So I think even using that may be a too broad of a term, because it's not defined by one set bar. It depends on the person. It's very individualized. Right.
Because I was actually talking to somebody I haven't spoke to, a coworker I haven't spoke to in a while about this. Like, hey, what's going on? You know, somehow we got on the subject, and like anything past toys, and this is him. He said anything past toys and routine is more than just the freaky part of it. It's that's something totally different. That's like something you need Jesus moments. Like because some of the things I heard on the radio alone. No, because some of the things I heard on the radio that she endured, like, I don't want to get too graphic because I like your show. I don't want you to get canceled.
You don't get me canceled on anything.
So no, not on a Friday. You're not Craig. So we dang, I can't go into it without going into this situation. So I'm just gonna pass it. Your past shouldn't dictate who you are now, because I don't live there no more.
Yeah.
Like something like, now unless you're still doing it and it's not too graphic or gross, it shouldn't be used against you.
So yeah. So I mean, I definitely want to go back to the question of what is freaky, what is too much, what is the come to Jesus moment, what is that, and how does it move across the board, right? And like Sonny said, I don't believe there's a definition, a bar, or anything like that, because like I was watching Plies the other day, Plies the rapper, and so Plies was like, he was like, yeah, I can't believe this. I thought I had, freaky at a certain level, and I thought I was able to, say that I had, this kind of thing on lock, blah, 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 blah. And then he was saying how, the things that he did, he thought was freaky. And when I was listening to the stuff he said,
nothing, man, it's nothing.
Like, right, bro. Like the stuff you're talking about is kindergarten to me.
Yeah.
The stuff that Cassie was reporting and purporting that happened to her.
Whoa.
I think that some of it for me was over the bar, but I know some people who that's still routine to them.
That's routine. That's
some
standard
of the stuff is still routine. I mean, I think that the events, that Diddy has been accused of having, and all the things that went along with it, the coercion, having people be drugged and inebriated, having people going for days at a time, things like that, that's definitely over the bar. I think that could be. I think that can definitely stay in the level of over the bar, even for sex workers and regular people who do things on a regular basis. All the things. I think that's for everybody. I think that's probably over the bar. But I know that there's a wide gap. You know, I knew a girl. Actually, I know a few guys too, and this was always a thing they said about guys in New York and guys that are Jamaican that wouldn't even have, you know, oral sex, right?
Yeah. Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah.
oral sex is over the bar for them. You know what I'm saying? And that's definitely something that a lot of people either participate in on a regular basis or find routine or might find not over the bar, but, you know, just not, you know, that high up either. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like, yeah, I don't do it regularly, but it's not crazy, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing. But the question, going back to the question, to your question about, you know, someone's sexual history being used against them, you know, I look at it two ways. You know, the one thing is, like you said, from a negative standpoint, using that as a defining palette, right? You know, to say, oh, you did this, oh, you did that, oh yeah, you too freaky for me, or you nasty, or you this, or you that, you need Jesus, all that kind of stuff. You know, that's one thing, the judging, you know what I'm saying? There's the judging, and that's definitely a no-go. You shouldn't judge people for things that they've done, things, especially if they're like, hey, you know, that was my past, you know, that's not what I do, not what I'm in, you know, that's not necessary, it's unacceptable, things of that nature. But then also I look at it from the standpoint of, and you almost kind of touched on it earlier, Sonny, is when people are judged on things or not judged on things that are when their sexual history used against them for things that they don't do anymore, but people are trying to coerce them or trying to influence them to do again. You know, so you have people who say, you know, oh yeah, I used to do, you know, XYZ. I used to, you know, do all kinds of stuff at parties, all kinds of stuff with a bunch of people, that kind of thing. And then somebody goes, well, why won't you do that with me? And why won't you do, you know, why you not?
Yeah. I think a lot of people,
and that was one of the issues that a lot of people were talking about, where guys were getting mad because a woman will say, oh, I don't want to have sex on the first date or in the first 90 days, but they got a kid, right? And they're like, oh, well, you was having sex with somebody, you know, and it's like that. What happened then has nothing to do with now, and it definitely has nothing to do with you. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's the other thing about it. It's not, again, not acceptable and definitely unnecessary.
Yeah, because I feel like too,
Hey,
that's I'm sorry. Go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say another thing of the level of freakiness. What were you talking about? Some people just think sex should be something for reproduction. You know, some people think.
Don't even look at
some
it
people
like
think
extra correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like so doing extra stuff could be going too far for some people. You know, so it's different levels for everybody. Everybody has a different threshold, but I think, far as being overly freaky, is when you have to be inebriated, we have to be drunk or drugged. I think
Not
that's going too
everybody,
far,
though.
because not everybody, but some people, if you have to take a drug or take something to enhance the mood or
Yeah.
make you forget or make the
Yeah.
person forget,
Yeah.
that's going too far. That's pushing the envelope for me, at least for me. Like I want to remember what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't want mistakes happening. Like, why am I in the hospital for sex?
Yeah. No, but it's true, because I feel like too, like I said, with doing this podcast, I get it a lot. Like I get a lot of flack for like doing this podcast. And it's like, at this point, I'm like, I don't feel like I need to defend why I'm doing this podcast. If you watch the podcast, you'll see. Yeah, I do have some fun, silly moments. We do have some fun and get a little raunchy and stuff like that. But then we also have real ass conversations. And like I always say, we're grown. I'm about to be 42 on Sunday. I don't have time to be acting like I can't have a conversation about sex with the person I'm having sex with. I'm too old. I feel like you if you really can't talk about it like in this depth and entirety, likes, don't likes, wants, needs and stuff like that, and just having a conversation with the person that you're doing it with, then you should be able to do that. And then I also am the person that, and this is a biggie, it's a biggie, especially with this podcast. It's like, all right, well, she talk about sex, so she just be willy-nilly. Like, no, I can talk about it and not even be around.
Not engaged in it, yeah.
And not super engagement. Like, I can't, like, I think that's very immature to say that you can't talk about sex without being like, oh my God, I want to have sex. Like, no. I can have a legit dialogue and not even be thinking in that mindset to want to do anything with anybody at that particular moment or shortly after. Like, it's not that big of a deal to me.
Right.
But it doesn't take away the fact that I like to have sex with whomever I'm with, not everyone. Right. And then it's like to be used like and on top of that, I'm very open and honest and direct about certain things I do share on here. I don't share everything, but I do share enough to for that I'm comfortable with, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like I've had people watch the show and then say something to me crazy, and I'm like, who are you talking to? Mm-hmm. Like, no, this ain't that. Like, just because I do this show, understand what the show is. Like, mm-hmm. It's just a conversation between grown-ass adults talking about certain things that we should be able to talk about. It's a little more open platform, but at the same time, it's I don't want to say calculated, but it's calculated to an extent, right?
Well, that part and the fact that it's necessary conversations a lot of times. A lot of times it's the conversations like this conversation, talking about, judging someone on their sexual history. I think that's one of those things that people have to understand or that the people have to get on the same page with in terms of like, this is what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, how you should approach certain things and how you should look at certain things. So, feeling like a person can't have these, like you said, these adult conversations and these necessary conversations, it's immature, to feel like you can't have these conversations.
And then I feel like too, it's like, and I'm not a big person. I don't judge people. If you like it, I love it. I don't necessarily have to participate. I'm not going to condemn you for anything that you do like. I'm not going to make you feel like something is beneath you, because it's stuff that I've done in my youth that I've done. And one thing I'm not going to say is that I'm not proud of it. I'm grown. Whatever I chose to do is what I chose to do. I do feel like today's point, if you feel like you have to be super inebriated to participate in any type of act, then you don't need to be doing it. Now, and in the same token, I'll say, like I've said on this show and on my blog when we talked about threesomes, I feel like I don't want you to be drunk, but maybe you can relax, because I've talked to people who have had threesomes and things like that, and it's like when they feel like they are nervous, because people get nervous. People get nervous just having sex with somebody for the first time sometimes, right? You just get a little nervous. So I say you can have a drink, but not necessarily be drunk. Like you could, if that relaxes you, or get comfortable, have a conversation. You don't necessarily have to drink. If drink is not your forte, have a conversation, open up a lot of dialogue. Like, everything should flow naturally. Yeah, you can set. That's why I say, even with setting up, we talked about this on, I believe it was Nye's podcast, Nye from Life Be Life, and we were talking about setting the mood. So if your spouse wants to have sex with you, and you gotta you can't do it as often as you would like, but you try to make time for those things, you can schedule it, not necessarily, and I say schedule it, but I don't mean like actually like this day and time we're gonna have sex, but like say, okay, maybe we're gonna try to do it today. But in saying that or something along those lines, you can make it natural. I feel like it's unnatural, makes you nervous and makes you feel weird, and it's not necessarily fun. So I feel like it's things that you can do, like, little foreplay. Foreplay starts before even touching somebody sometimes. So you don't have to like go through all that, but you can know what to do. Like, you got plans later on tonight. You're gonna try to rep them up half in the afternoon, like, babe, blah blah blah. You're gonna put on, like, just wordplay can probably get somebody to be more comfortable and relaxed. So those types of things. So like I feel like I'm not a big person of you have to be super inebriated, drunk, or let alone on drugs. I mean, people I know do it, but they're very aware of what's happening. They're willing participants of what's happening and stuff like that. So that's where you get you kind of got to figure out where that balance is of what works for you. And like, what's up, Matt? But you got to feel like you got to get that comfortability level with the person that you're doing it with. And I feel like what a lot of conversations I had with friends or people that I know had threesomes, they were uncomfortable. They felt away. They were just a lot of different things. So that's why I said, like, if you're a drinker, okay, so have a little glass of wine, not necessarily hard alcohol, but like something to kind of relax you. You know how when you go home from work, you stressed out, you have a little glass of wine, that type of thing. Don't be super drunk where you don't remember it. Don't be so drunk that it's like out of your mind and you don't know what happened, and now you waking up questioning with what stuff like that. So those types of things I'm cool with. But like to Dane's point, you should not be so inebriated. You should not have to be so inebriated that you're doing something. And I also am a big person of don't do anything that you don't want to do. If you don't like doing something, don't do it for the other person. Do it because you want to do it. And if you don't want to do it, you should be able to tell the person you're with, listen, I don't feel comfortable with this. This is not something I like to do. I know I said I would attempt to try, but I just feel like it'll be me doing it for you. And now I feel like I'm obligated to do something because it's something you like. And that's, we can tie it back into Cassie and what she said in some of her stuff about she did it because she knew he liked it. And now it becomes, you feel like, you feel that sense of obligation. I don't think sex you should ever feel obligated. That's like, if I'm with you, if you're my man, I can't be like I shouldn't never be made to feel like I'm obligated to have sex with you at any given time. Like, I should want to have sex with you, right? We should be attracted to each other. We should want to do these things. But I shouldn't feel like it's an obligation or I've done something completely wrong to ruin the whole day because we didn't do it. And now it's a big to-do and it's a fight or argument. Like, I owe you this. And it's like, no, nobody owes anybody anything. It's just.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Like, I don't want to have sex with a person that wants to do it because they're obligated or feel or that they, because my thing is like you doing this out of obligation makes this horrible, makes this a job. Makes it not fun. You know, it's not right. There's nothing fun about it. There's nothing sexy about it. I don't see where that's even attractive. You know, so definitely if you're feeling obligated or if you're feeling like, you know, something is above your bar or outside of the realm of comfortability, then you definitely shouldn't do it, because definitely nobody wants that. You know, at least nobody in their same mind wants that for sure.
Like, I jokingly say that. I have said to a guy, if I take you out on a date, I'm getting some, but I don't mean it. I mean, I do and I don't, but at the same time, I don't mean it with the like, and I understand that it could be taken as you're obligated, right? So no, I don't. I jokingly say it because I just laugh because I say it only because, you know, that the ideal is that if a guy takes us out and spends some amount of money, he's supposed to get something. So that's why I say it, right? It's like the flip or reverse of it. But do I mean it wholeheartedly? No. It's been times that I took a dude out and I've said that, and if I had some that night, cool. I may have touched you. You didn't have to touch me, type of thing. But like, it was in a joking manner. It might have been like slightly serious, but not to the point where you should feel obligated to do so. If that makes sense.
Right. You know, that was my problem. My first marriage, like my ex, was having problems, and we were going to counseling. And one of the things was, how come you don't want to have it? No, like she didn't want to have sex with me. Like, so I'm not gonna force somebody to have sex, because you could tell when you're in the moment if somebody's into the moments of having sex. So I'm like, after I was done, I'm like, all right, I'm done until you really come around. The therapist asked, hey, how come you don't want to have sex with your wife? Because she don't want to have sex with me. Like, I don't want to drive. No, I don't want a dead fish, or she have to do something out of obligation, because I don't. It's not enjoyable for me if I know I'm not doing my job or can't do my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm a pleaser. That's terrible. But I'm past that. I'm past that part now.
I hope you're joking, Matt. I hope you're joking. But even like that. So say if you meet, I know you guys are with someone, but you meet not your person, whoever you're with currently, and they tell you, which I'm assuming they have, told you everything there is to know about them in a sexual manner. It's like,
what up, though, Jamie?
Open themselves up. Hey, Jamie, like opening themselves up to let the guard down, let the walls down, and just tell you whatever it is they want to tell you. Like, I used to do this, I used to do that, blah, 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 and it's that and the third. And like to Willie, what Willie said earlier, how come you don't do this with me? And I feel like, and then they're like essentially using your past against you. Like, oh, you used to do this, and why you don't do this no more? You know, and this and third, you out here was doing this off the fly with this person, but you couldn't do this with me, type of thing. And it's like, I feel like people forget that people bring certain things out of you, right? Somebody may have made you feel super comfortable to where you can just let go and
just say, you got to be him or her, period.
Yeah, but like you share yourself, and so now they bring this out of you, so now you're more open to try, do, express all those things. Whereas you may have, this may be your spouse, you've opened yourself up and said all this, told you everything, and we were good for a minute, and now we're not good, and now it's a problem. So now everything is shut down, or like all the fun stuff, the fun is snatched out of it. So now it's not fun to be like, let's do these new exciting things. Let's try this. It's now off limits because it's not fun. So like that part, I feel like, how do y'all feel about that? Like using that, like knowing the history of your other person, and then like feeling a way. Like, do men really feel a way about stuff that if you know your wife did this and she just ain't gonna never do it with you?
So I've never felt that way. Actually, I had the opposite happen to me back about I don't know, it had to have been just
3 minutes ago.
I would say just before I graduated college or graduated. I but the first time I went, I didn't graduate at that time. I dropped out and went and started a business. But I was in college, and it was either straight out of high school or right when I was in college. And I had a girl tell me about some stuff that she had did and everything. And I really just met her like maybe, I don't know, like a couple of weeks before we had this conversation. So it wasn't like a long situation. It was just basically like we had hung out, did a couple things, you know, a couple of activities, and then we just happened to be at my crib and was talking. And so she was telling me some stuff, and it was something she told me. And I remember like being I wasn't like shocked or disgusted or nothing like that. It wasn't that. It was more like, in my mind already, I was like, that's a no for me, dog. Like I'm not with it. You know what I'm saying? And it was just, you know, one of those things that I think she felt like it was just one of those things. And, you know, she just happened to be telling me about it. And, you know, she wasn't, I don't think she was asking me to do it or anything. It just was just the way she was telling me about it. I was just thinking like, yeah, that's above my bar. You know, I mean, that wasn't the term I used back then. But at the time that's how I felt, was like, it was more than I wanted to be doing. And I think also it was more of a, just a conscious choice. You know what I'm saying? I didn't feel obligated or anything, but I also don't think that it was something that, like, if I would have said it and told her that, you know, it's nothing I'm into, which I did have a girl that I did tell something like that, and she definitely looked at me crazy. She was like, "You don't want to feel good?" I'm like, "I can feel good other ways. There's other ways."
Like this ain't that. I don't want that.
This ain't that. So, but it was like, you know, I just think that when, you know, some people tell you things, like you say, either they could just be opening up, they could just be feeling like, oh, you might be into this, you know what I'm saying, that kind of thing. And it's like, either you're gonna feel like you should do it because, you know, that kind of thing. I didn't feel, like I said, I didn't feel obligated. I just, you know, was just like, oh yeah, no. But, you know, I definitely have been I definitely have seen examples of guys being either upset or taken aback or kind of turned off by a woman's another situation a woman was in, right?
Yeah.
You know, feeling like, oh, you did this in the past. I mean, and you see this stuff. It's on TV. It's on podcasts. Yeah. It's on Twitter. It's everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it's men and women, but it's I feel like it's way more often than not it's men speaking on it, where they feel like, oh, if a woman was promiscuous in her past, if she was, you know, doing certain things with other men, if she was, you know, I mean, I definitely know that, you know, a lot of times guys get turned off if a girl is involved in anything more than just relationship sex, anything more than just, and I don't like you said, I don't think it's, appropriate or right to judge that person, or to feel like that person is less than, or to feel like that, that's, it, if it's not for you, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? But don't down that person, and don't make them feel like they're less than because you have a hang up on this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that's, now I'm sure there might be something where I might feel like, oh, you know what, that is the red flag for me, or the thing that I'm like, oh no. I mean, luckily I don't have to worry about that now since I'm married, but in the past, I definitely know that there could have been something where a girl could have said, oh, I did such and such, and I'll be like, ooh, yeah.
And
I'm gonna exit over here. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure there might be a bar, that Cassie bar. It's kind of high. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like
I'll be like, yeah, no, I'm straight on that. But I think also that we all have our things that are hangups, our things that are, I mean, I wouldn't want to be, and that's one thing I noticed with this whole situation between Cassie, the situation with what's his name, the older guy, Lionel, is it Lionel Richie? Yeah, Lionel Richie. No, not Lionel Richie. Yeah.
But don't talk about
no. What's my man name? Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson. The situation with Smokey Robinson.
That was weird.
Even the stuff in the past that we've seen, like with R. Kelly and Harvey Weinstein. The one thing I noticed is that you don't want to get involved with people who may hold things over your head, who may make you feel like you have to do things to maintain something.
Yeah.
You don't want to get involved with somebody who makes you feel like their existence in your life, or their position in your life, benefits you to the point that you can't
feel stuck. Yeah,
exactly. You can't not do what they say, or can't not adhere to their rules. That's when it's problematic. That's when it's beyond problematic, because at that point, and I was telling a friend of mine about this. I was like, I feel like everybody does have a price. Everybody, there's people who will say to this day, I don't have a price. Nobody can buy me. Nobody can buy my dignity and my reality. But they can. If somebody had enough money and enough of a lifestyle that you just felt like you couldn't strip yourself away from, you would have that price would be over your head, and you would do certain things that you don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? And I give you a prime example. There's a lot of people out here they'll tell you dead in the face, I don't got a price. Best believe
they got a price.
If their job told them come in this weekend or you getting fired, best believe they'll be at work. You know what I'm saying? It's not sex. It's not damaging to their health or their well-being. It might be if they got that kind of job, but I best believe that most people will walk into that job that weekend, that on their day off, because they don't want to lose that benefit. They don't want to lose what they have. You know what I'm saying? And that's the kind of thing that Diddy had over Cassie.
Yeah, and then on top of that, like she entered, like, and this is my part that I have a problem with too. So, like, yes, whether or not she enjoyed some of the F-offs and stuff like that or whatever, she didn't know about that before she met that man. How do you think she was introduced to that? I don't think that's something that you just say, oh, I want to do that. I mean, it's no, because I'm gonna walk that back. Some stuff you see on porn and stuff like that, you want to try and stuff like that, whatever. But like, I'm pretty sure she didn't. That's not something she was introduced or she knew about or was introduced to prior to meeting this man. And then on top of that, you take in fact her age when she met him. Whether or not she cheated on the person she was with or not, she met this man, and this is what she was introduced to. She liked him. She wanted to get to know him, and she got to know him very, very well. So it doesn't, and that's the part I feel like what people like get it twisted. It's like it's certain things that you don't know until until somebody brings it to light to your attention, and then go ahead and then see if you try it and say, okay, I like this shit. That might have been her thing. But yeah, I want to get to Regina's question because I saw it too. Where's it at? What do y'all think about a man that had sex with a female back in the day, but now want to do things different, like get married before he has sex with her again? That's his choice, I guess.
No, and the funny thing is, I actually I can't remember where I saw it. I feel like I saw it on either Reddit or on Twitter, a situation pretty similar to this, and it was pretty much basically how she just laid it out in the question, where there was a guy and a girl that were dating. They broke up at some point, or they had, I don't know if they broke up or if they just lost touch or something. They get back together. Guy found religion, right? And he was still the kind of guy that she liked. I think maybe even more so. And they were, a little bit more mature. And I think that either he just out and out told her, or it just came up during a situation that he didn't want to have sex with her until they got married. He wanted to wait. And the comments were all over the place because, definitely, I think the opinions are, some people feel like you've already done it. What's the wait? Some people feel like, it's his choice. It's the right thing to do, whatever the case may be. I mean, I personally definitely think that it's a situation where if it's for either religion, or it may even be out of your for therapeutic needs. But I feel like if it's something that you've held a standard that you now hold yourself to, because let's go back to judging somebody. I think that it's a worthwhile effort, right? Because there's people who, they become what's the word, Sonny? When you're not having sex, celibate. There's some people who decided that they want to be celibate. Now, celibacy, and I don't know if it's definition or by practice, is supposed to be one thing versus what a lot of people think it is. But long story short, I think that if a person says, you know what, I've decided I want to be celibate until married, or I want to be abstinent until married, or I want to be, I want to take a sabbatical from physical pleasures in order to focus on my personal goals, things like that, and which is a big one nowadays. I think that it's definitely a worthy goal. And if she's serious about this dating situation becoming, a more permanent thing, hey, it's worth the wait. No use in jumping on them, chastising them, trying to all the things. But what you think, Dane? Oh, or Sonny, I don't know, Dane.
Sorry. My son decided to. Man, where I leave off at. So,
answer the question. That way you left off. Oh, you got the baby. Oh, you want me to answer first? All right. So I feel like it's his choice. And now, whether I would say that's something that he should make you aware of. I mean, or he should have made you aware of prior, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Whether or not it's a religious reason or a personal choice. Maybe he was a sex addict and now he has to refrain. And what only makes sense to him to have sex is when he's married. It makes sense. But I think if you're not doing it, you need to explain your reasoning why, especially when it involves another person, because they have to have then decide whether or not that's something that they want to do. Because you can't force people to do things that they don't want to do. If somebody likes that physical contact and that's a very important part of their relationship, they're entitled to that. That's their stuff that they need to deal with. And you can't just say, okay, well, because there's people I've dated that back in the day we had sex, but if we were to date, I know one person in particular, if we were to ever date in any type of point going forward, it has to be a lot different. It would not be, because back then I was young. People change. People grow up. A lot of and that's again using your sexual history past. Yes, we had sex before. I know all the parts. You know my parts too. But at the end of the day, that was then and this is now. And this is who I am now. So meet me. You're meeting me at now. Not back when I was 17, 18, or 20. I'm 40 plus years old now. So now this is a very much different me. And so you're not going to get the same me from back then. If you're getting the same me from back then, I don't think you want to date me. or let alone have sex with me. Not necessarily have sex with me, but like date me or marry me. So because we all have to evolve and grow. So I feel like that's something that you discuss early on in a relationship, and then especially if you're talking about marriage, that's something that person needs to know from the gate. Like especially when things get serious. Listen, I'm not like I want you to know that I'm, and then very short of them. I'm very highly attracted to you. I want this physical connection, but this is where I am in my life right now, and I choose to abstain from having sex until I'm married, and this is the path we're going. I would like you to join the journey with me if you're comfortable. And then you also have to understand that person may not be comfortable, and they be like, I'm good, and you can't be mad because they weren't mad.
Not at all.
So you have to treat this like just because it's a male, give him the same respect as you as would a female when she makes that same choice. Because just because it's male doesn't mean it is unusual in today's age for a male to go backwards as far as wanting to wait until marriage. Usually back in the day, it used to be the female. Same scenario, just different gender. So, oh my. So.
Oh, he wanted to be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it is a double standard.
No, he's saying that he's saying that he just put his sister under arrest. So yeah.
Hey, officer.
Yeah, but what was the last topic before?
Damn, you want us to go back? We don't know. We don't know.
Right, I don't know.
It is definitely a double standard when it comes to men abstaining from sex. It's like what? Because I get like I said, for women we're looked at as sexual creatures, but at the same time, men praise that praise sex. Right. So it's like what? What do you mean? I think to me it's equivalent to hearing a man say he don't drink. What do you mean? So you. Like it's just like what?
I know a lot of men that don't drink.
I do. No, I've dated one, and it was just weird because I'm like, so no. So you never had drunk times before, like none of this stuff. But no, back to my point. But like I feel like it's a double standard with guys because it's like it's expected for a man to want to have sex and need that in his relationship to move forward, right? So when a guy says it, it's like you lying. Or the initial thought some women may think is he got somebody else on the side. He bullshitting. Like it's just so many things that we just feel like it's a penny pack of bullshit. So when you meet a guy and he actually really standing on business, that's why to what Willie said, it's very when you're practicing celibacy, it's no sex period, not masturbation, it's none of these things. It's just pure abstaining from any sexual anything. Not oral, none of it is happening. It's like you're a born again virgin. You don't even think about it. Don't touch yourself, no nothing. So that's like I said, and that's a big step for people because you can abstain from having physical sex with them, like intercourse, but most people do other things to relieve themselves. So you're not really abstaining. So it gives you that if you're trying to say that you can deal with this, knowing damn well you can't. It's you're going to be enticed and want to be touched inappropriately, and you can't because he just told you no. So you got to figure out whether or not you're going to stand 10 toes down with this man. Is he worthy of you to walk that journey with him, or do you feel like he's that person that you willing to walk that journey with, like wholeheartedly and stand on business, or if it's something that you can't do? Don't penalize him. Don't get mad at him. Don't be arguing with him because you frustrated. Because if you're used to having a healthy sex diet and now you're not, you're gonna be frustrated.
Yeah, Regina said, "I didn't mind, but damn, how long was it gonna make you wait? He's gonna make you wait till y'all got married.
Till y'all get married. He said it.
It could be 1 year, 2 years, 4 years.
And he may be one of them dudes that in 6 months he said, "I'm gonna marry that girl," and then he proposed to you, and y'all may be married in 6 months after that. So it depends. Like, and that's a question you ask him. You can't.
That happened to
me. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I remember you was talking about the our situation. Now that if we didn't have our significant other that we have now, like I've been in a situation where I've known somebody's past before I interacted with them. Somebody did something, they went another route without asking them going that other route doing sex, and she's made mention, you're not trying to do that, are you? Like, no. So I've always asked, is this okay? Even before and during?
In the butt? Like, what are we talking about?
Yes, yes,
Oh, in the
I'm,
okay.
yeah. Because no,
Sonny, none
man,
of us need an explanation, Sonny. You know you didn't need that explanation.
No, because I missed it. I didn't know what he was referring to.
This is the first time Damon was very obvious.
Yeah, I didn't catch it. I'm so used to him being shady. It's just like, what? Okay, that's what we're talking about. Just want to make sure the math is math.
Yeah. So she was like, "You're not like you don't do that without asking me." Like, man, that's a big trauma. Like, I've not no, but there's some people out there who just do stuff without asking or talking it over with their partner. Like, because some stuff you just
what it is, because I feel like if the flow is flowing, like, you know, you when you're engaged in physical contact or adult wrestling, as some we want to say, because we don't know if they're going to censor me, adult wrestling, and because there's been times where I've had experiences where somebody has done something and it didn't bother me, but like it was the flow of the connection between the person. So it's not like they did it recklessly,
and it might just be that one instance. Like, you might not do that again with them.
You might not ever do it again, but like they do something and it's just like, oh, because like I said it on many times. The first time I got my ass, I didn't get asked any questions. It just, he went one place and he went another place, and then I dropped some tears. I was like, this is amazing. He didn't ask me did I want it done. That he didn't give me no signal that it was happening. It just happened, and I cried, and I was like, I like that. That was a really beautiful situation. So the second time around, when he did it again, the next time we linked up, and like when we were dating, next time he did it, I was like, so now I'm like, everybody do this. I like this. So like, this is like a standard. He done set the tone. Like, what you mean you don't do that? You're crazy. Like, what? But like, that's something that was done, but it wasn't something that he said, asked, was it okay? He just did it. So I think you kind of pay, and that's why I say when you do have the adult wrestle with your person, you should pay attention to their body. Also, you can very well ask, right? Because that's not no harm in it too. Depending on how you ask, it may spoil the mood and make him feel awkward, stuff like that. But like, pay attention to the body, right? Or you can do what I like to tell people to do. They have little spicy game cards. We played it on here several times. I don't know where I put the cards at right now, but you can play, like, you can do like a little date night and have a card game so you can get to know what might be some options for you versus you asking in the middle of sex, like, hey, babe, can I do, like, what? Now you got to think about it. Your mind is off of it. You sitting there thinking about it. It's weird. Now it's awkward. It's like, that's like, for me, asking me, can you kiss me? I don't kiss everybody, but if you ask me to kiss you, now I feel awkward. I know it's coming, and now I feel weird. Now I want it. It's weird.
I had one person tell me during the acts, they don't care for it. I'm like, okay, I'm back off because they, like during, like they don't make it weird. Just like keep doing what you're doing, except for that.
Like that. I don't know why, but they don't.
Or you might be doing it in a way that they're not comfortable with, versus a way that somebody else made them comfortable, or you might do it. Man, I've definitely been in a situation where it's like, the same thing that I normally do was fine, and then this day it's not okay because the person just didn't feel, it didn't feel the right for them that time. You know what I'm saying? And that happens. Every day you get a different ache, pain, or issue, or you might have or you might just not feel it, or like you said, Sonny, it's the moment. It could be that moment. You know what I'm saying? That might bring that on versus another moment you might be like, I'm just into like routine today, that kind of thing. So I think it's always something different. Now, one thing that y'all just brought up that I want to ask this question. Hold on a second. Like Regina said, body language. Body language is everything. But now it's making me wonder because, and I don't know how many young people do this, but I've seen it on TV so many times. I've seen it on a lot on Reddit because they talk about this all the time. They actually call it the age of consent. Like, this is the age of consent. Asking before you do anything, literally anything. Ask before you kiss. Ask before you hold hands. Ask before you stick it in. Ask before you take it out. Ask before you, like, everything has to be consented to. And I'm like,
Wait.
is this really something that people are doing across the board? In I mean, it may not be everything, but in a lot of things, or is this generational? Is this new people? Is this the young people doing this only? Are we doing it in our age? Is people older than us even thinking about this kind of stuff? You know, so what's y'all take on this age of consent?
I'm still hooked. I'm still caught on to take it out. You need consent to take it out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's, isn't that borderline rape? If once you say no, that no means no.
Yeah.
No, it's reverse rape then, because you if you take it out, you didn't get my consent to take it out.
Yeah. I feel like this is it's a I think it might be more for the younger thing, and I understand it to an extent. You're talking about and this is very real thing. People get caught up in, like, you know, college and colleges is very much date rape situations, a lot of those, right?
Right.
It's a lot of inebriated sex, and people always come up with the, oh, well, maybe I had sex with her and it seemed fine, and now she's saying I raped her type of situation. So I feel like in that culture, in that area, I feel like that's why they're now, the younger people are adopting the age of consent, because you could very well, like, if I get drunk and I'm in college and I'm with this guy, and that's why date rape is like a very real thing, and it's very hard. It's very hard to prosecute. It's very hard to prove and stuff, because you're inviting this person in. Similar to like Cassie's situation, it's like you're inviting this person, you're doing certain things, but now this one thing is the issue. Not necessarily with Cassie's situation, but like with date rape, it's like this situation is a no-go for me. I was cool with kissing you, making out with you, letting you fill me up. You touched me, this, that, and third. But I was too drunk to say I wanted to have sex, and I woke up and felt like I had sex, and I didn't want to. And I felt like I didn't want to have sex, and you should have known, because whether or not I said no, I pushed you away, whatever, you just was like, you took it as a soft no rather than a hard no type of situation. So I feel like I get why they want to do that, because it's very scary. And it's a scary thing to be in for a boy or a girl, especially boys, to be in a situation. Can you imagine one of your sons saying, "Oh, I thought this girl, we was kicking it was fine, and now she's saying it's a great charge," and it's like, okay, now that's a thing, and he really thought that he had consent, and now his life is potentially over in shambles. So it's a very scary and real thing. So I get that. I don't think the older crowd will adopt it. I think at this point it's more, I feel like it's one of those things, like you said, Dane said, no means no. And the having sex when you're supremely inebriated, maybe that needs to, like, people need to have that control to say, no, I know we want to, but you're too inebriated. I'll catch you on the next. And that's hard to say in the moment, but in the reality, it might be something that's better practice because of situations like that. And I'm not one of them people. Like, I'm like, I just had somebody on another podcast I watched earlier. When you say things like that, when you become a victim, or not, I'm gonna say victim, but when you are a victim and sometimes you don't necessarily know. Sometimes you push and stuff like that. So not even words come out sometimes, or sometimes you freeze and accept it, and that person don't know that you don't want it, like, you know, stuff like that. So it's very hard. So I just feel like when you're of sober mind, you can make better choices.
Yeah, for sure.
Self-control should be taught to our boys and our girls. Drinking levels, because even if you're drunk, scantily clad or not, does not mean you want it. And for the boys in particular, you got to be very careful to make sure you get consent. But like, realistically speaking, I can't see someone saying, "Hey, can I do this? Can I do that?" to make sure, because even if you get consent, don't mean she ain't changed her mind in the middle of it. So it's very, it's a very scary word. Yeah. So it's a very scary world. So I get why they adopted that.
So I got another question before we jump off of here.
Okay.
So I was talking to somebody about this Cassie situation, Diddy situation. I don't know if we should keep calling it the Cassie situation, but just the Diddy trial and everything that's going on. But it was definitely based on the testimony, right? The testimony came across their way, and they had this question about basically, what makes a victim. So they said it's not sounding like a victim to me, but that may be, or no, that because it may be about the sexual deviance and the things that they were getting into as like consenting. They say, what is it? What was the other part? I'm sorry.
No, you good.
Oh yeah, but no, they said that it felt like her saying that she's a victim didn't hold because of her going back and her consenting later, that kind of thing. So so the question basically is like, what constitutes victimhood? What allows you to say that you're a victim versus not?
I feel like with her particular situation, it's almost similar to the girls with R. Kelly, right? They met him when they were young. They got caught up in whatever it was, and the parents are trying to fight for them to come out, but they want to stay with him. It's like Stockholm syndrome. For me, it's like, because it's like going back to someone, like going back to your abusive husband. He beat your ass and everything like that. But that's the only person you know because he did everything to carry you. Now you're out in this world alone and you're struggling with the kids because, of course, now he's not helping you because you got kids and you left him. And, and so now you go back because that's a familiar, a comfortable, it's like trauma bonding, if that makes sense. It's a super severe case of being trauma bonded with someone. Even though they caused you this pain, so much pain, and made you feel uncomfortable, made you feel like you were obligated to do certain things, to participate in certain things that you normally wouldn't participate with outside of them, right? Mm-hmm. Or stuff like that. Because like we can take away her cheating on people with this man going back and stuff like that. It's that trauma bond. Trauma bond is a very, very real thing. It's mm-hmm. A lot of people trauma bond with their abuser because that abuser take care of them too. Right? So that's the part of the abuse. It's the mental breakdown. That's why I made the post that I made on Facebook the other day. You really won't really understand it unless you've been in that type of situation. So outside looking in, if you never experienced that, you can't understand something you haven't been through. You just can't. You can empathize to a degree, but you really don't know because you haven't been in that situation. So it's like, and whether or not she enjoyed, like I said, this is why we separate the sexual history. Whether or not she liked sometimes doing it because it was fun, it was something new and exciting, that doesn't mean she wanted to do it every day of the week. Whether or not she initiated it, because of course the messages came out where she was initiating and setting it up, but it goes back to you doing something that somebody likes and that's going to make them, and like that is almost, and then you could compare it to workplace sexual harassment and stuff like that, or having sex with your boss because you know that he has his power over you, he can get you fired, and that may be your only way to take care of your family, and you can't get another job. You're lucky to have this job, so they're using that power over you. It's the power dynamic that becomes super problematic because you have it, whether or not she wants it. And then love is a powerful thing. We love people. Love is blind. Mm-hmm. People do the dumbest shit when they love somebody. I've done it. Like I've been that person. I've dealt people that I knew meant me no well, put me through the ringer, and I just was like, I love him. I'm in love, and it makes you do the dumbest shit. And and like you can look, and like that's why I said when you step, and this is, I made a post. I don't want to read it on here, but like if y'all follow me on social media, go there. But like I made the post, like you don't understand unless you're actually in it, and if you never experience, you won't really understand it. But when that person comes, and this is why I'm proud of her, because, and it's why I give her my, like, whether or not she did everything or like some of the stuff, that's neither here nor there as far as sex. Nobody deserves to have their ass beat. Nobody deserves that type of control to where you feel like you can't let go of somebody because it's detrimental to your survival. And I feel like that's like no matter what she liked, what she participated in, this is what I need to survive, and it made sense to her, and that's trauma bonding at its finest. You don't understand what trauma bonding is? Go look it up, Google it, it'll help you find it. But and then to Regina's point, she probably thought he was going to change because he loved her, and took care of her. He made sure she had places, even though he was creepy as hell, stalking and popping up whenever he wanted to. He was making sure she was taken care of outside looking in. If you didn't know what was going on, you thought that girl had it made. People wanted to be her. People wanted to be Kim Porter. People wanted to be these people that were in line with this man because they thought their lives were so lavish. He did that for her. This is a manipulation and all this stuff in wrapped into one. You're gonna make sure outwardly, because the motherfucker like, why you leaving him? Because he's crazy. Because you can see that he's doing all that stuff for me, but he's still crazy and he's controlling me. And I'm doing this stuff that's outside of myself. And I liked it at one point, but now I don't like it no more. And you have the right to not like it anymore. You have the right to not want to participate anymore.
Exactly.
But the kept coming back is because she had that trauma bond. Trauma bond is real for some people, and it's hard to let go. That's why therapy helps. Therapy is ongoing therapy, because you know how, and I said that in my post. Do you know how quickly you can fall back into that bullshit because it's comfortable and you know it, and you rather than go meet somebody else that's probably going to do the same shit or worse, she
spoke on that. She spoke on the when she said that she was with Diddy at the same time she's with her current husband, that she was when they were still dating. She was like, he assaulted me. He assaulted me one day during a closure conversation, which we all know closure conversations where that's leading to.
Yeah.
And so she's like, he assaulted me then. Then later on, after that, I go back and consensually be with him. And the guy and the attorney asked her, why did you do that? And she said, well, we've been together 10 years. Like that was to her, that was common sense.
It made sense because that trauma is real.
And she even said the reason she did it outside of the 10 years is because she felt like they had a good night. She's like, we had a great night that night.
Because that love bombing is real.
Exactly.
That love bombing is real.
Her thinking that he's going to change or that things are going to be different, and she's seeing things be different. One day he's off the hinges. Another day he's sweet as pie. Another day everything's cool and dandy and everything's normal. The next day he back to off the hinges. So I think the ups, downs, and the craziness, the highs and lows. This and the highs for her, the highs were outweighing the lows to the point that she was stuck in that cycle. You know what I'm saying? And this is my thing about the situation, and my answer that I gave, to the person that was talking about, is can this be victimhood? My thing is that it's all about terminology, and I like the fact that you brought up the trauma bonding, because I was trying to remember what term I wanted to use for this, because I personally don't like the Stockholm syndrome cop out, and it's a cop out to me personally. Yeah. Because the thing is that people are placing that term on this situation, and it's almost doesn't fit, because Stockholm syndrome is more about empathizing and defending a person that's abusing you, or that's keeping you trapped. It's about relating to them. And in a way, I think that she did eventually kind of relate to him in certain ways. Not relate to him like, oh, we're the same, but more relate to him like, I see where you're coming from. I understand your pain. I understand what you're going through. I understand why you're so off the hinges sometimes. I understand why you get angry. But I think that the thing is that the things that she was going through, the ups and downs, like you said, being physically abused, sexually abused, sexually coerced, the trauma, doing things that was probably outside of her own personal decisions. I think that a lot of that, like you said, from the trauma bonding, it's more of a thing of like feeling like, oh, this is bad now, this one little instance or situation, but everything else is usually good. Everything is usually on high. And then to be with a person that has all these resources and all these things that can be, taken care of, and like you say, her livelihood, it puts things even higher. And like you said, the love bombing can be greater, the good days can be better, all those things. So I think that she can be a victim, if we can understand, if we can get around the wording, because I think that the thing with the wording is that, they're using words like rape and sexual assault, and, instead of using words like coercion or manipulation or the trauma bonding phrases, or even Stockholm syndrome. If they used wording that I think that the general public could sit behind and say, you know what, I get that. I get being coerced. I get being manipulated. I get being, having somebody hold you to a standard because they are because they're manipulating, because they have money involved, or your lifestyle is at risk, and that this person is being coerced into doing something. I think people will get behind it a little bit more. But the thing is, the reason they're using the words that they're using is because they need to be able to add, from a legal standpoint, criminality to this state, to this case. They can't, you can't say coercion and manipulation and then expect to get conviction or civil suits going. You just can't. You have to use words like rape and sexual assault and abuse and things like that. You have to use those more stronger, more blatant terms in order to get those criminal charges or those criminal cases. Unfortunately, it's not against the law to manipulate a person. It's not against the law to it's against the law to blackmail, but you know what I mean? It's not against the law to hold something over somebody's head and then them take it. It's not against the law. They chose to do what you wanted them to do because they wanted to do it. You know what I'm saying? But it's what us as humans, we can empathize that it's still wrong. Long story short.
Yeah. I just wanted to share this clip because this is not the one I was referring to, but this is one. It says, "Is it love bombing or is it love or trauma bonding?" And trauma bonding is explosive, intense from the start, fluctuates with constantly. I'm not going to read the authentic love, but I need you and I'm addicted to you. Chaotic, unpredictable, a roller coaster of emotions. Emotionally phobic, but highly sexual. Dramatic power imbalance, and the person perpetuating the abuse is in charge. Like, this is what I mean by the trauma bonding.
This is exactly what was happening.
This is exactly what was happening to her. So and this is why I say I stress this, because I'm not one to really try to go at it with people on social media, because I'm not about to do that. But I feel like a lot of people jump to conclusion, or not. I don't say jump to conclusion, jump to their opinion. And you can have, everybody got opinions like they got assholes, so it doesn't really matter, right? But I feel like it's one of those things, and we talk about this with health situations, mental issues, as far as my son being autistic and people not really understanding. It's something you will never understand if you're not in that position. So if you've never been in that position, you will never understand what it is to trauma bond with someone, especially for the amount of time she spent with him. And then you wonder why she keep going back. The fact that she kept going back and that she finally left, I'm proud of her, because that could have ended so many ways for her. The fact that she is standing in her truth, unapologetically taking accountability where she knows she needs to take accountability, but also not giving this man further power over her relationship. And the fact that she has somebody that's next to her that knows what she went through, whether or not she cheated on Puff Daddy with him or cheated on him with Puff Daddy, he understood what she was going through. And it wasn't for him to work out her problems. It was for her to work out her problems. And that's why a lot of people say, oh, he looks stupid sitting beside her. Like, at that point, he knows exactly who the fuck he's dealing with. And he knows the caliber of woman he has. What she did in her past does not define who she is currently. And no matter if she went back several times, she got it out of her system. And hopefully she's on a journey to still maintaining therapy and seeking that healing journey and going on to have this, hopefully, I know it's probably going to be a beautiful baby, but a beautiful baby and a better life, and a life of love and safety and trust with her spouse, which a lot of people don't have. So a lot of people don't even have that man that's going to stick beside you and know what you did. And he's clearly not, so far that we know of, not using her sexual history to be used against her. He's just saying, I love her in spite of that, because I see her. Regardless of what she's been through, regardless of what this media is saying, what all these podcasters, people, Facebook lawyers, TikTok lawyers, and representatives, like that, he does not care. He knows who he married, and he's very comfortable with her.
Yeah. I just want to answer this question real quick. Regina said, "Do y'all think she was communicating that she didn't like it to him, and he wasn't trying to hear what she was saying?" I think definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
definitely she was.
I can imagine there was probably certain things or certain times when she probably didn't say anything because she was probably in fear, in fear of him blowing up, in fear of him, putting her out, getting mad, beating her, whatever the case may be. I mean, we saw the video for ourselves. He got mad because she didn't want to stay with him at a hotel that night for whatever reason. She was upset with him, or she was just done with the situation. She wanted to leave the hotel that night, and he proceeded to beat her, over it. So there's times I'm sure that she either said something and he wasn't with hearing it.
They said that people witnessed her getting her ass beat on several occasions for different things, and whether or not she didn't want to participate in the freak off, whether or not she went through his phone and found some bullshit, whatever the case may be, she did not want to be there, and he still wanted her there, and he thought the only thing that he could do was put his hands on her, which is not okay in no way, shape, or form.
And that's the other thing about this situation, about her going back or her not leaving. Actually, more probably her not leaving, is that I know a lot of times the her not leaving part, one, going back to trauma bonding, the person in power having so much power over you, it's the fear and the actions, right? Her fearing his actions and his ability to do something to her that she can't protect herself, and then the resources he has. I mean, Kid Cudi says that's what happened to his car. He got involved, blew his car up. Somebody else said they got death threats from him. Somebody else said that he tried to kill. I think that was Al B. Shore said that he tried to kill him. There's so much stuff around that, that people just don't understand those nuances, that she basically was either trying to save her life or save her sanity or just stay under the radar. You know what I'm saying? People stay under the radar so much you wouldn't believe. And for less situation, less of a situation for lesser men.
Yeah, that part. So, like I said, I'm proud of her for standing in her truth. I'm proud of her for going through with this. I do want to see Farnsworth on the stand, but we don't know if we're going to see that because I know he got some tea. But I just feel like it's at the end of all of this, he knows what he did. She knows what he did. The people around him know good and goddamn well what he did. So hopefully, like I said, once this is over, she has her beautiful baby and she is back to her healing journey and back to minding her business and being happy with her family, because nobody deserves, not even just the females, nobody deserves somebody to put their hands on them, period.
For sure.
So thank you all for joining us tonight, especially super last minute. Willie, thank you for joining. Hype, thanks for shouting us out. Everybody in the comments, shout y'all out. Dame, thanks for joining for as long as you could. We appreciate you guys. I will be coming back with Seth with Sunny. I think I am going to maybe continue doing Friday nights, but at 10 o'clock, maybe that might work better for me than 6 o'clock because my family and all have been through my house. Y'all already know where y'all can find us. On Mondays at the Monday show at 10 p.m. The whole GFT radio gang is on there. Me, Willie, Dame, and Hype. It is Hype. It is not Hype. He is not geeked up. So 10 p.m. on that. Hype. Oh, speaking of Hype, he has a How to Hustle podcast, which is very dope. A 30-minute podcast drive-through Mondays at 2 a.m. Eastern on your favorite on all your favorite platforms and on YouTube. Sex with Sunny will be coming back. I was saying June, but I might be back for another episode before the month is out. So we'll see. I definitely appreciate you guys for joining us tonight. Go get some merch. I got our All Skin Folk Ain't Kin Folk shirt on. Go to gftradio.creator-spring.com. Support us while we support you, because that pays the bills for everything GFT radio related. And if you guys have not checked me out on the podcast link, Philly page, go to BS3 Network and watch our first live show. We just did our third live show on May the 4th. So hopefully you guys like that. And we're coming with you guys with so many content. So go ahead and follow at Podcast Link Philly on Instagram for all of the podcasters that are all part of the live shows on there. It's a lot of dope people. It's mostly Philly podcasters. I'm the only Jersey one there thus far, and I hold my crown proudly. But Willie, tell them where they can find you.
Well, it's your boy Willie Styles in the building. Get at me everywhere at Willie Styles on IG and Twitter, Willie.Styles on Snapchat and TikTok. Visit me over at stylesradio.com for all the hot tracks that I'm listening to, williestyles.info for all my links.
And again, that is BS3 Network. You can find it on your Roku TV, or you can go to their website, or find them on Instagram and then go to their website. The link is in their bio. But also interact with me at IamSunny_D, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, TikTok, and Threads, or visit me at my blog, unreservedlyme.com. I just made a post today, 10 things. 10 things I did. So go ahead and check that out. Appreciate you guys. Oh, there it is right there. Check the podcast link, live show, the first show, BS3 Network, BS3TVLive.com is it. And you can find BS3 TV on the Roku app. And they're based in, I think, what is it, Texas or Houston? I think they're Houston. And we're the top streaming show on there.
Oh, okay, for sure.
So yeah, show us some love.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank y'all, and I will see y'all very soon before the end of the month. So I appreciate you guys. Have a great night.
Have a good night.